Mike Gill and Crash.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. Well, you know what? We're back to remind people of our last podcast. We call it a fishing trip, and let's look in the net, see what we caught. All right. If you remember in our last podcast, it was time to call out the moles and the spies. We're in an echo chamber because they've sealed it with these moles and these spies. And we'll show you how it works. And we're going to show you the connections. This isn't he said, she said. This is exposing an operation that goes to Aaron Day and O'Keefe. That's the Mossad. An operation that goes to General Flynn, right? All president accounted for. This group in New Hampshire, and then another group all over the fucking place, led by Satan himself. But each and every one connected. So what we're doing now is not only exposing it so you understand, but I want you to take a moment here. There's going to be times I'm going to be talking to you, and I'm going to ask you to take that moment to pay attention and listen to what I'm saying. This is one of those moments. Imagine all those people. Imagine all that money. We're going back to the DOJ. They're working, and they're doing this for years and years. My biggest promoters, like Michelle Moore, right? So, in other words, my biggest promoters, the people who get close, and they get close to you with trust. And when you're broke and starving, they turn around and feed you crumbs to keep you attached. You didn't think I knew? Of course I knew. But now you guys are going to know. And here's the point I'm making. That money, that time, and that effort, I've been into 20 years, so have they. This group has started while I ran for governor, when I called out the cartel. That's the timeline. So we're going to take you through some pieces of evidence, but understand how much effort and money is put behind stopping me. These people work full fucking time on my ass. You see all these podcasters when I came into, I was a hero to all of them, right?
Yep.
And now nothing. We can't even pick a fight because they all know exactly who I am. And that Pandora's box, along with the Epstein files, in play, which is why it's time to eliminate this nonsense. They're not going to bring me anything that I don't already know. So, this, my friends, is a teaching lesson on how to catch a rat, but have you identify it and understand the meaning of what this is, the dedication. Okay. All right, Crash, would you like to add anything to that?
I just like what I said yesterday to you. People either support you out of because they support you, or they're with you for another reason. Either they're getting something out of it, and
We,
it's
we
one or
said
the
one
other.
or two. We said on our podcast, thank you, Crash. I knew you could bail me out. On that podcast, we said one or two, right? What did we say? The reaction of these people, if they were true to their word and they were supporting me and they were backing and understood the importance of my evidence, right? They would be still and quiet, understanding my mission supersedes all feelings at this point. If I have a doubt, it's got to go. I have no doubt and haven't had no doubt. But in case I do, and I hurt an innocent feeling, understand we got the DOJ in check. And if you don't mind, I've got to keep to the point. And I don't have time for this nonsense. Who was door number two? Knock, knock. There she was, Pat and Pat, right? There she was. And what did they do? They turned in hours. Not
Yeah.
only did they identify them as two, they hit us in the head with the door, which also told me something else. See, we're playing at a different level, guys. And I know you listen to this happy horse shit from all these pinheads, but I did become an extraordinarily successful man again. And if you heard it again, you're going to hear it again. World champion, sport. Listen, Only ones now winning are Arabs. They own your horse racing elite. I was the last real American to turn around and fucking beat these assholes. So just saying, maybe I came to the table with shit. So maybe these pinheads couldn't, I don't know, fool me. So let's do a little investigating. And you're going to find out it's this little pitter tat brings us to some pretty dark and important places. All right. Hit it, Spielberg.
Spielberg. Okay.
She said, don't drink an energy drink. I'm only having a little sip.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he says. Yeah. A little sip.
And it's diet.
Well,
Okay.
that's no
So let's
better.
go. 10 calories. All right. Looks like this.
Now,
We
can you?
got Grendel, right? Now, let me remind you of Grendel. Lingrell, I was his hero. There's going to be a common thread here. Audra Tube hero, this one hero, this one hero. Everybody have a hero. Then wants to murder my ass. Okay, so we've got our boy Grendel telling everybody what I call motive. Let me see. Benson's cartel. Oh, all right, let me read it for you. Everything is regulated by FTC corporate, new everyone sales through the billing. Please don't insinuate any wink wink bullshit. Benson's cartel engineered my demise. It was Governor Benson who worked for Giganagos, the cartel. We talked about them getting suitcases of money, and he witnessed it. Listen, this asshole's not a whistleblower. He's a witness who worked with them, who understands the money laundering through this. He came to me. I was his hope to take out the cartel. He didn't help me to take out the. He took these band of weasels to turn around and leverage that. But that's how he was going to get it back. And listen, what's the motive? My demise and cost me 800 million. That could be motive. All right. So that's Grendel. Now think about that importance. Grendel worked with the cartel in Anagos, the same people I'm fighting. When they started Planet Fitness, you know who the lawyer was? Bill Shaheen, the same one for Maxwell, the campaign manager for Clinton. Are you getting this? Who could get him back Planet Fitness? Maybe you've seen a few. You remember Ariel, who was blackmailing Planet Fitness, saying they were money laundering, drug distribution. Remember that? That's Flynn. That's blackmailing. And guess what? Michelle puts Mike Grendel with Juan in a meeting. Right. Michelle does that. That
What
means
What do you
Mike
mean?
Grendel
You mean
means
she talked
good.
about it?
Yes, and told other people
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So, in other words, we've got Juan and Flynn meeting with Mike Grendel. The importance is during that December 18, 2020, that I've showed you all those posts and emails, they were going to Grendel at the time because if I got smoked, I wanted it to go back to him as the cartel and the laundering. He turned around and went to Flynn with it. They became partners. That's Michelle Moore pushing Mike Grendel. That's the money man behind these guys. You get it? But there's more. It was a partnership, a group. We've got everybody in there, including the DOJ. So let's show you how it came together. All right, hit it. Now, they're telling a new narrative. They're writing a different story by this Claire Best, who came from England, lived in California, and I don't know if she's ever visited New Hampshire. But this connects Claire Best with Mike Grendel. Ain't that a quip? So this writer in England connects to Mike Grendel. She was doing something on St. Paul, and all of a sudden, she's connected to Audra Toup. Audra Toup flipped. Remember for Flynn. Remember Roger Stone. That's the Patrick Howley. You remember now, yesterday, when we talked about Elvira, he brought up Patrick Howley in the text, working with them. The same Patrick Howley that they grabbed Audra Toup. Audra Toop was facing years for federal wiretapping an agent. So they released her suddenly. That's what blocked me from sending the evidence to the Department of Justice in hand in Boston on tape. They got the Audra Toop. But this is the meeting of both. That's when it started. They had to change the narrative. Listen, if I get smoked, they get to tell their story. If I'm still alive, they get to tell their story with people going to hear me tell you the truth. Okay, hit it, Crash.
Okay, before I hit it,
Yeah.
Let's Hear the Truth. This is a DM from someone called Let's Hear the Truth, which is Claire Best, correct?
Right.
And
Yes.
this was April 2022. And what you're pointing out here is I spoke to David Smith, who works with Mike Grandal. So she's connecting to Mike Grandal in 2022, correct?
And right. And Grendel's in Florida. What the hell is he doing here? He's doing it because the contact, and she's the writer, and she's connecting it. And that's Audra too. So here's this, Holly. Listen, we got to get religion and politics out of these things. So in other words, Holly showing up all these collage of Claire Best. She did this, Pandora paper, this, and this. She never mentions me once. That's the takeover of the narrative. That's what they're doing. That's what their money's doing, right? That's why Michelle had that investigator do the hit piece in case something happened. They were going to change the story. That was Michelle, just as we were catching her. In fact, after we caught her is when Crash caught it.
Right.
Okay, so let's keep going. So now we've connected those two.
Okay, real quick again. Sorry, Audra Toop worked for you.
Audra Toop, no, she was
the witness or the victim.
She was a victim in the septic tank thing. Actually, it was her boyfriend.
Okay.
She came in, and the boyfriend stayed outside, and so she gave me the septic scam.
Okay.
But you know something? It wasn't a septic scam. But what Erin Day was giving everybody coming in, the FBI, their names. The FBI called Audra Toop and said, if you see Mike Gill again, I'll put a bullet in your head. She recorded them. They filed charges of her. Okay, the point of the story is they criminally leveraged her, and it was Flynn and Roger Stone that got the feds to drop it because they are the feds. Okay, ready? So now here's the thing. Motive Grandel, $800 million. He's going to take over and move in for the cartel's ownership of that Planet Fitness. Now, you heard Claire Best with Grandel. This is Claire Best saying to people, keep speaking up, Mike. You have been right every step of the way. I took a lot of us many years to get here. Oh, she's including herself. I've been here 20 years. You've been here a couple. Oh, but see, this is how she's marrying into it. But everything turned out to be true. Right. Well, thank you. We got here from different experiences. Really? What was your experience? Did you deal with the cartel face to face? Did you deal with these lawyers? Did you go to the FBI, DOJ? It's bullshit. See, this is even how she pins it in a compliment, but telling you that, look, many avenues, but some stories, and we have 3 or 4 different angles. Fuck you, your angles. They always come up with me. See, what they needed was, listen, when you have a guy that won't lie to you, they got to create a lie. That's why that Arizona piece, you're going to find out Grandel was part of that down there. Michelle sending me to Arizona, screaming the cartel for me to get murdered. When I took a right to the broker convention, it screwed up everything. And it brings them back, which is why maybe Patricia, who witnessed, and I have it, that Tokaroni was in New Hampshire and conquered in a restaurant, in a supermarket. What was Tokaroni for there? I don't know. Tokaroni was in the meeting of the brokered convention that references Sununu as being the beneficiary with Haley. You know what? I bet you Sununu wanted to hear that from the horse's mouth. You know, someone corrupt working with the CIA, working with Michelle and this whole Flynn network. And guess what? They called him out. She called him out. We should look up into that. Okay.
Hit it. Like when you said they create a lie, they either create a lie or they create another narrative. So we're seeing, both.
Destroy the man, then his narrative. Look how they spun. It tells you what their mission is. Listen, their mission is the same. Now, you want to know if it's connected? This is a little with multiple photos. I think Holly gave me this photo. Thank you. That because I had other photos and I have other people working out there. There's Rakeland and Aaron Day. Let me understand. Rakeland connects to Flynn and the DOJ. Aaron Day connects to, by the hip, to James O'Keefe and the Mossad. In fact, Aaron Day's wife at the time was a Russian kickboxer and a real beauty. And let me tell you something, Aaron Day's a ghoul. All right. So the point is, in fact, you know what? When the cartel went to serve him at his house, he sent the wife out. And I mean, the wife brought a shotgun. I'm going, man, I like this girl. He's a piece of shit, but I like her. Now she disappeared. She was Russian. They looked at a house, the people house, that they were Russian gun dealers that they got murdered. I don't know. There's obviously something to look at. But we've got the Mossad, right? We got Rakeland, we got Flynn, and they're all meeting these pinheads at their own party. See, it connects them.
In Ground Zero in New Hampshire.
On Ground Zero, exactly. This is who's funding it, and this is who's coordinating it. They're using their services. I've known them for 9 years. I've worked on this. In fact, Patricia sent us another guy, McNeil. Remember I told you he was a Fed? He was working for somebody. He was going into the court hearings, and I caught him.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She just brought him back, and I snatched his ass out of them. I mean, this was some crew.
That's the one that was filming or taking pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, so you saw in the pictures.
Filming.
But again, what I want everybody to understand, what do I have that this fucking important? You understand? Unless it is the path. It is the way in. Listen, they're banking on me taking something out here or taking me out. And I'm telling you right now, the speed of their urgency also gave me the measure of whatever their plan is, and it's sooner than later. Okay?
And the reactions, it's over the top.
The reaction is the measurement. Exactly. Exactly. But listen, when Twinkleton take a hissy fit, supporting a guy who was going to threaten to murder my children, give the cartel, it seems a little off base. Okay, hit it, Crash. Okay. Let's just I'm going to see if I can read it on my pad. Okay. The point I want you to make is this is with Pat. I hope you look at Patricia, New Falls Crew Info, especially the team. You ready?
The second paragraph, what you're looking at.
What was that?
The second paragraph.
The second paragraph, yeah. Right. Second paragraph. And I'm going to the second sentence. You can read the rest. Patrick is here to help you, as am I. That's Patrick Mockenridge. So they're both here to help me, which is always good news. We are not feds. Whoa. Who said you were? Who said you were? I mean, that's not usually something you would say to somebody.
Right.
Especially who somebody as suspicious as me. And you know what? Being suspicious in my case is just good common sense. And we both in it for all the right reasons. Well, wait a minute. Those were the right reasons. That was an awful quick spin you boys and girls did. Pat and Pat. Who's Pat? Right. That was a pretty quick spin. And you're here for me. I'm glad. Boy, you turned awful fast. But you're not feds. But if you remember, you know how I found this post? It was something that I read on the Twitter that said, wait a minute. Patrick said, Patricia said that 10 months ago. So you know what I did? I looked 10 months back and found that tweet about them asking for feds. And there it is. So when he says it on our podcast that Patricia was a fed, and that Patricia said Crash was a fed, right?
Yeah.
So we go back. So he's saying she told us 10 months ago, and there it is. Patricia said you were the FBI 10 months ago. I looked 10 months ago, and she's asking me and for Patrick. We're not feds. I don't know. I find that kind of suspicious, right?
So at the same time she was calling me a Fed, she was trying to make sure you didn't think she was a Fed.
And what she was doing was they were undercutting you for me to cut you loose. You know what they did? Michelle did the same thing. And so did they.
And
That
others.
was the point.
There was
You were the
others.
target. What was that?
There was others too.
Oh, there were others, but this is to identify them. The methodology is the same.
And well, one of them was connected to O'Connell. Remember Leah? She started on that at that
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I don't
Right.
know these people, and they don't know me. So
How about this? I didn't know any of them. O'Connell, Day, O'Keefe, Flynn, Department of Justice. I was minding my own business, getting rich. All right, hit it, Crash.
no, you mean losing your money.
Well, now listen, remember how they were all saying, Michelle was saying on the internet, isn't it funny? In 7 days before that she's saying Mike Gill lied, right? Michelle did a podcast on her own saying that Mike Gill only tells the truth. I've been doing this for years. I can tell somebody. Right. And look, Mike Gill doesn't lie. Makes sense. Trust Mike Gill. Right. Thank you, John. Mike Gill is a legend. All right. So you can see the methodology. I mean, O'Keefe did the same thing. Elvira told you I was one of the most important people in history.
Yeah.
Juan told you I was the closer. They did nothing but compliment me, right? Open the door. And again, when I'd ask people my motive, lifelines, I cut them all out. Why? Because the lifelines are there for a reason. And I'll take the reason, like I walked away from 400 million. But this is how important this is. But this is how they infiltrate. This is what you've got to see. This is MK Ultra. This is cartel. This is Department of Justice. Oh, Keith, that's Mossad. You got Flynn. That's DOJ. That Defense Intelligence. They're right all there. I didn't collect them. They all came. What do they say in Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Well, I built it. Pandora's box. And I attracted every filthy animal in this world. You know what they say? I think it was Winston Churchill. A measure of a man is a measure of by his enemies. Who are my enemies but the evilest bastards in the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, Defense Intelligence? Oh, I don't know. We've got the Mossad, right? We got the cartels. I mean, I had to fight biker gangs.
Right.
I mean, did I leave anybody out? Did I make any friends in the podcast world? Right?
Nope.
I didn't deal there for friends. You see? The problem is each and every time they thought they can flip me. These people around me was a measurement of my mentality, what I was thinking, my conditions. You understand? They were talking to me personally, asking where I was, if I needed anything. What was my condition physically? I was being probed. This is deeper shit than you think.
They wanted your address, they wanted your phone number.
Listen, when I
I've
lost
never,
that phone, we had 10 people have heart attacks.
right.
All the 10 people, I wrote their names down. And so far, we're doing pretty
You're
good.
doing pretty good.
Yeah. All right, hit it, Crash.
Let's see. We got this one.
Right. Now, so when I say twinkle and say, listen, I'm not going to have you sharing this shit, talking about this guy. And what does he do? Right out of the box,
Okay.
he shares it with Bob Hope. And for you who don't know who Bob Hope is, it's Brendan O'Connell, the nurse from Australia.
Wait a minute, Mike. Hang on a second, Mike. For those who don't know who Twinkle is, okay, it's Patrick Mockridge. Rick Astley is Patrick.
And all I'm saying is,
no,
right?
wait. And Rick Astley had gotten Patrick had gotten his account taken down. It was actually Tinkle McSprinkle. So Mike calls him Twinkle because Mike had a horse, right?
And I ain't saying sprinkle.
Twinkle. I think Mike had a horse, Twinkle a little or something like that. But anyway,
I did.
Mike, we have so many fake names that we don't know who's who, but we know who's who, but you don't.
We know who that asshole is, and we know who the
Bob just a little backstory there. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. So that's Bob Hope, which you can't get this guy. And remember, this is the guy that told my location and have them murder my children, the cartel. And do you know who was connected? Who got called out? Frank Newhouse. You know what? He worked with all these people. He said this in front of somebody about my protection in New Hampshire, and that person gave it to the feds. But think about it. She was with that again. That whole group. He's a criminal. And who did he marry right after? Maybe you've seen the wedding picture. Erin Day and Frank Newhouse. Quite a picture.
And Frank Newhouse was connected to you how?
Holly, Regina,
But
all of them.
What was he?
He was part of this group. And he was also, I called out Newhouse, he was working for Anagos in the treatment centers.
Yeah, okay.
Right? He was connected to the cartel too.
And he's
That's
also
why when we called him out, we're saying, hey, you didn't tell anybody you're working for Dick Anagos.
And he also went by Footloose, right?
Right, Footloose,
okay.
right.
I'm putting
again,
together. So
but think about it. It's in this circle, and that guy in the circle was that currently then working for Dick Anagos.
Okay.
In the drug treatment center, moving drugs, as he told me. And run by the guy who's in Gill, who got arrested for attacking the reporters on reporting the Pandora Papers. We're still in the circle, boys and girls. Listen, there's millions of people, just like when Flynn called me on December 18th from the Oval Office, had Carissa Ketchel. There's 330 million people just in this country. How is it that I get that call?
Right.
How is it that all these people comes into place? It means you're right. Then you think the depth. This is why they're getting really comical with all their bullshit now. You notice that they got Juan in Antarctica making a deal with reptilian overlords, and Ariel's selling it. Okay. Oh, and to our last Twinkle shared with O'Connell, it seems O'Connell's packing his bags. Was it leaving his shit home, and he's going to show down my ass. This guy turned around and he's a nurse. You can take it down. I can't take it no more. He's a nurse. He volunteers to give rectal temperatures. Can you imagine him getting along with the other nurses? Considering he beat up his girlfriend and brings it up over and over again. Quite a gentleman. But anyway, they're packing their bags for a reason. Remember I told you close? Remember Crash was talking about the reaction? Does it seem a little urgent to you, boys and girls? Do you think they want to wait, I don't know, 48 hours before they lose their shit? They lose their shit because the boats, and this was the time to end the ride for all of them. This is evidence what you're hearing. This is going to demand an investigation. And if they think I'm going to deal, they've been wrong before. 20 years has been saying it's wrong. And if they snuff me, listen, I don't care how it comes by. And I don't like saying, because I hear O'Keefe saying, remember, if I'm not going to commit suicide, oh, shut the fuck up. Shut up. And listen, I could use the rest, so I don't give a shit. You understand? This is a calculation. You're going to do this by the numbers? I'm doing it by the numbers and saying it's door 1 or door fucking 2. Okay? Either deal or no deal. You know what brings me back to the movie that Crash hasn't seen, The Godfather. Remember when he goes, you're either going to sign this contract, your signature's going to be on the contract, or your brains. And seeing, I guess I lost my fucking mind. I always pick the brains. In fact, you know what? I think that was our last picture, right? The last image.
Yeah, that was our last picture. Yeah.
In fact, I'll tell you, my ex-wife would always tell the children, listen, and this is the truth. Now, I don't expect how they were going to save it, but listen, he goes to the kids, listen, something happens to your father. He's in an accident. You tell the doctor to save his head. You guys expect me dead. They were using me for my brain. Save his head. I think they put it on ice, things would work. Oh, hey, listen, if he's paralyzed from the neck down, put him on ice. Perfect.
Just save the head.
How about this? They let me loose for a couple days, and I only stopped the brokered convention. But Trump, I caught them with the insurrection with Flynn, with witnesses and evidence. Got Tuckeroni in to Concord, New Hampshire, right? We've got Stacy Burke to confess. I mean, Stacy
Shelby.
Shelby Bush to confess. 98% CIA. You know who she mentioned by name, by the way, boys and girls? Vandersteel, right?
And Vandersteel.
Right. They were all confessions. We got that too, and they only let me out for a couple of days. Imagine what I could do in their faces. Imagine what I could do in Congress. Imagine what I could do on like a Tucker Carlson show, maybe. How's that? You want to know who's serious, who's not lying to you? The assholes that have me on. And you know what? We get a platform. When this starts rolling, they can't stop it, which is why think of this protection like an egg. Their strength is in its shell. You crack that, they're gone. That shell is all you're seeing. All the commitment in years of every day put in to isolating and controlling me. You understand? At the very highest levels of this country, at the very lowest levels. What do I have? You audit their money. That's why Maxwell was there. You turn around and expose the DOJ as the protection network. Who holds Maxwell now but the Department of Justice? Who did Trump send but his own personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, the assistant AG? Patel, the AG, who let Epstein go. Acosta, who let the U.S. Attorney, the Department of Justice, that said they told me intelligence. You see what I'm saying? Then who do we have with the FBI under the DOJ? Patel and Bongino, who's trying to tell you that Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, that did kill himself, and there's no files. And everybody's pissing themselves. They're going to let go of the one person from the deep state that went to jail. They're going to let her go.
Yeah.
And then all this other stuff with Obama and Hillary, they're bringing it all back up again. They're calling about deflection, right? This is the depth. It's this simple. What I have is the laundering network. What the Pandora Papers told you, 935 billion marks the spot. The urgency of O'Keefe and Flynn to me, their names, even Raiklen called me a hero. All of them did. Because they all assume at a certain point in time, a guy who was driving in a Bentley, was living in a mansion, who was the world champion, might just say, okay. Well, he didn't. And here we are. Hey, listen, we bought the ticket. I bought it. I'm trying to stay to see the fucking movie. All right? But if I don't, I guarantee you there will be. Now, they may lie. And if they do, it might just come from this angle. All right? You remember I didn't take a dime. You remember we played this to the bone.
To the end.
Here we are. And you know what? We got a shot. I mean, we got a real shot. This thing, you might just turn around and get extra pissed with Maxwell. They let her go. And if they show you someone's going to do some Comeys, they're bringing up Hillary. No one goes to jail. This is how you keep score. Gee, I knew they fucked up with T-ball. They'd stop having the kids keep score. See, what you do is, how many people did you arrest? Don't tell me you're going to invest. I mean, deep state, who do you got? That's the scorecard. All right? That's the bottom line. Nobody. But boy, they afraid, and we're at 0.0. And think about it. Even Stacy Burke, with her 0.0, with Flynn, her experience that came back at the same time, we're here again. Even with Dee's guest the other day, what was that gentleman's name?
Alessandro?
Alessandro. He puts them Flynn and Powell and Lynn Wood right there a month before December and all. That was the operation. That was putting it together. He was putting it them. He recognized and told you who Elvire was.
Yeah.
He recognized even the post that Elvire said he lied. The text that he didn't do it, as even his words. And listen, I got about another 20 pages. It's that asshole.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're seeing is that connection. You see, that Elvire is Michelle. Elvire puts you in the Capitol. Elvire puts you back with Carissa, right? She puts you with Carissa. They put you with Carissa. Stacy Burke put the evidence taken by directly with Powell, Flynn, and Carissa. You see, what I'm telling you, it's impossible not to be true. You know what the problem is when they lie? That's when they turn around and say, it's a false guy. It's number two, number three, right? Because they tell you the asshole he lies, dies, and he shows up for lunch. You know what they said? Oh, that's not the real one. He's dead. That's the new one. That's number two.
2.0.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, I bet you some of these bastards are up to 4 and 5.
Oh,
Right?
they are. They are. Yes. Flynn's
No,
one.
I didn't know that, but guessed it.
Yep.
See, it's all a manipulation. The truth is very direct. Listen, power and money. All these criminals with the money, oligarchs, cartels, they hired the lawyers here. Those lawyers become the Department of Justice, connected to those law firms. And when those Department of Justice leave, they become heads of those fucking law firms making millions. Follow Lullen. He took the trip just that way. You see? So, in other words, and they defend those same people in front of the judges that belong to the Department of Justice. Now, that's a sure thing. Now, what would you pay for a sure thing? That's how much the DOJ makes. And who pays them? Only the oligarchs and industries and cartels across this country to sell you off. And as an added bonus, they hide your money, protect your money from any investigation, and have the IRS and the Treasury and Department of Revenue launder and clean your money. It's one-stop shopping. There you go. And they didn't build 50 tunnels. They built one. Why? Because it's harder to find. Would you do? Small state? Right. Completely corrupt and controlled? Right. Who was running it? Bill Shaheen, connected to Hillary Clinton, and they're investigating Hillary Clinton. Investigate those funds, those charitable funds, or Clinton Foundation. Do you notice how all these foundations, it was the money laundering. And did you see how New Hampshire was connected to Ukraine money laundering, as I told you in 19? It's all coming to play. Where are we? With the Mossad dropping bombs on Iran because the Israel owns our politicians in Senate and Congress. We're turning around and keep feeding to Ukraine because they were the money laundering partners. They were stealing equipment and selling it. It was always dirty there. That's why Biden was getting paid. Biden said it himself, Hunter Biden. Yeah, I didn't know shit about gas. They were paying me because of daddy. And you had Pelosi's son, you got Kerry's son, right? I mean, this isn't hard. So the two places that were sucked into money laundering in the Mossad, all because they control Senate and Congress, and Elon Musk wouldn't audit either. I know we went, but this is the depth of all this. This is the importance. This isn't a he, she, kind of a thing back and forth.
He said, she said, yeah.
This is deeper than you think. I want you to recognize it. And this is who we're playing. This is the time to start seeing it. And again, you're going to see the truth be just maybe the avenue that they forced to take. That's the money train. Unless you believe that, if you can fully believe it, which is, think about this, if you're going to go on the air and believe somebody, wouldn't that person open up their lives to you and say, this is who I am? You're hiring convicts and strippers and porn stars. I mean, my God, right? Wouldn't you want to bring someone to listen to them and know their even background? We're still finding out shit about Tucker Carlson and different things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's shit in on, but I mean, he's front and center. Listen, if you want me to sell your bullshit, you better tell me who you are, show me that you're successful, and you talk the talk, walk, what do you walk the walk, talk the talk,
talk, yeah.
Right. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you did. What did Elvire do? Hire strippers from, what was he saying? Were they Brazilian or something, strippers?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm just saying, that was his background. You see what I'm saying? They didn't come from anything and you bought it. Who was Michelle Moore, a realtor that had God talk to? Who's now her mentor? Mark Taylor, another prophet? These two people talking to God, selling you godly granny. and making millions. She owns the company, Wave Watchers and all that. Listen, she set me up with these people, and Grendel and Flynn. Has there been somebody with contact that she had content? Anything? Tell me.
Yeah.
But that's who they were. They weren't anything behind it. They had a job to do. That was the job. Okay. All right, Crash.
Okay. Until next time, Mike.
Okay, Crash.
See ya.
Bye.